Right, okie dokie, we are cooking on gas now. So, hello everyone and welcome to the latest British Web Award interviews with our creators. And today we are joined with the team from Demon Doctor. We have Joshua R. Pangborn, we have Mark Eugene Garcia and Ashley Monique Menard. Welcome.
Okay,
Thank you so much for having us.
Pleasure. We were just chatting briefly before we started recording. I was just saying beforehand how much I'm a fan of horror comedies in general, and I love seeing them. And when your show came into the British Web Awards, it was just really fun to watch, and that's some of the best experiences. So, beginning with you, Josh, what would you say? Where did the idea come from? Because you are the star, you're the writer, director. I presume you produced it as well, did you?
Yes.
Perfect.
And I edited it too. So
There you go.
you know, the world of independent web series, you wear a lot of hats, but you only have one head, so it gets very, very heavy.
I've never heard it put like that. That's great.
That's great.
Well, the idea, I mean, I've always loved horror comedy like you, and I think that it's something that it just always has resonated with me. I grew up in the 90s. I was that's the era where with Buffy the Vampire Slayer, The X-Files, Charmed, Angel, all of those shows were the things that I watched as a kid and I grew up with, and they just really resonated with me. But when I started my company Psychic Productions, I really wanted to focus on promoting LGBT stories and stories about plus size people and fat acceptance stories and things along those lines. And so I really wanted to do a story that was in my favorite genre, but I wanted to do one that was maybe a little gayer than all the ones in the 90s, and also just featured a lot of actors of different body types to have the mission that we try to focus on in Psychic Productions.
I think what's great there, what you're saying as well about that, you were saying you wanted to put things in there that you hadn't seen that much of, you would say, and that's what's great about the web series format. You can build what you think's missing. You know what I mean? So that's what's great, and that seems to be what you've done there, really. So that's great. And the actual idea for the show, is it just a case of you just wanted to make the horror comedy just because you're not seeing it, or?
So it comes from an old screenplay that I started writing probably in 2005 or 6.
We've all got one of them, haven't we?
I've got a sock full of drawers for them. So I mean, it was just it was an idea that I had about a woman who was killing and collecting body parts, and a demonologist who was called on by the cops to help her. And I took that and I was like, well, I've been doing a web series for 4 years now with Skeleton Crew, which is the other show that we all do together. And let's try something a little bit different. I want to do a horror comedy. Let's see what I can take from this old idea and cause to grow. And that's sort of how this evolved, basically.
Okay, and you were saying, because obviously you've all worked together before that, so kind of what was like the casting like for this now? Was it kind of like something where you've got a script and you've got a team of kind of actors and players, and you can kind of give them out? Was there auditioning, or was it just kind of like you'd fit here, you'd fit there, or what was that like?
Oh, it's a little bit of both. I'm very Christopher Guest and Tim Burton like in my shows. I like to work with the same people that I know, because I know I can rely on them. I know what they're going to be able to do, and I also just have a lot of fun with them. And that's really why none of us are doing this for the money. We're doing this to have a good time. If we're not having a good time when we're doing it, then I love being around these people. So that being said, with Demon Doctor, I did have a lot of auditions for a lot of the roles. There was one role that I knew I was going to cast, and that was Genevieve, which is Ashley Monique Menard's part. I knew I wrote the role for her, and I knew that was an easy fit for her. And I actually, Sergio and Xander, who are two of our supporting characters, I pretty much knew I was casting Andrew and Paul as those two parts as well.
Okay,
but everyone else auditioned.
Yeah, exactly. No shortcuts here. So Ashley, having worked with Josh before on that, so he told you he's got this part. and you got the script. What did you think initially when you read the part? And
I said, I'm not getting paid. No, thank you. And so I read it and I was like, what the hell does this mean? What does this mean? What's the this? Like all of these terms. And I mean, you know, Josh always writes things in the way that he hears them and sees them, and in the imagination that he has is so vast, in with the research that he does. So when it came to like a fish taco, I'm like, am I saying this wrong? How do you pronounce Giacomo? Like just so many words that Josh comes up with and through research. So I had a really fun time when I read it. I was like, this is great. I totally want to be a part of this. Can I do accents? And he's like, yes. He's like, I don't know if you can, but you can try.
that's so funny.
So
It also doesn't
You can
help that I'm
try.
often described about, people usually say with my writing that I write like an old British woman to begin with. So throw in all these demons and names of things that Ashley has never heard of, because she's not a horror fan. And that certainly complicated things, I think.
Perfect. And what about yourself, Mark? There, how did that? Was it like when you kind of got the scripts and got involved in that? What did you think of the character? Because he's kind of like a tough, no nonsense cop. Isn't he?
Yeah, I love it. Well, I wanted to audition, and Josh actually kept telling me not to audition. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh. You're not saying, oh, yeah, that's
He
good.
kept saying no,
he
and
moved.
I just wound him down. No, I read it, and I really wanted to do that. I for Skeleton Crew, it's a very different character that I play on there, and so I really wanted this opportunity to be like this, you know, this lead action cop type of person. My favorite movies growing up were always the monster movies where somebody was fighting a monster, be it, you know, Anaconda or Congo or
Yeah.
Jurassic Park. I love that stuff, and so this was my opportunity to kind of get to live that life. And so I pushed for it, and I'm glad he said yes.
Perfect. I mean, like you say, it is kind of like I think Orson Welles says it's like a big train set. You know, making a film. You know, you get your toys and get to play with it, and you get to, you know, just have fun really, because that's ultimately what you're doing. And at the end of it, you'll have a body of work, and you can show people what you've made and stuff. That's great. Just before we move on too much, Ashley, do you want to explain what your character is then? How would you describe her? Give us the rundown on this part.
Genevieve.
All right.
Genevieve is like, she's like a witch that just, you know, has evolved with the times, and she figures out different ways to get what she needs from different people in order to be what she wants to be, which in her case is beautiful and angelic, such as myself in this format. And you know, I imagine that throughout the years she's come up with different plans to get things from people, and we're just seeing this phase that she's in right now and what she's doing right now. And I think Derek gets in her way, and she's not a fan of his. So I'd be really interested to see like where she was 150 years ago, or you know, 300 years ago. But he's created such a rich world and such a rich character for me to play with, so I love it.
Well, it's funny you say that. Where would your character be 100 years ago? Because how many characters could you play that you could ask that question of? So that makes
Yeah.
it unique. And just before we move on again, Matt, how would you describe your character that you play?
Well, as tough as he is in the beginning, especially, his heart is bigger than his brain. I think he wants so much to believe, and he wants so much for this wonderful world to be real, that he doesn't always make the best decisions, but he really wants this world of magic and monsters to be true.
Perfect. And yeah, and then it happens, I guess. Doesn't it? It's
Careful what you wish for, Mark.
Yeah, exactly. Isn't it? Can I ask Josh, what was usually get to me, what was kind of the budget for this film? Did you manage to get any financing, or was it self-financed, or what was you working with on this one?
Basically it was all self-financed. I work a 9 to 5 job because that will help me pay for all of this to happen, and
Yeah.
that's sort of what it is. I am lucky that I get some wonderful producers along the way. Ashley is on as a producer, and we have a few other. We actually have a wonderful producer from the UK named Carl, who is a huge supporter of the work that we do, and he often helps us out financially. But when it comes to, I mean, the bulk of the budget is self financed. So
As it usually is with a lot of people, it's just the case, isn't it? I mean, it can be very difficult to get financing, and if you've got a dream and a vision, I mean, you end up, having to do that. I can certainly relate to that more than I would like.
I think
Mhm.
we all can.
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah.
still paying off that loan. We'll get there. So yeah, and what was it you shot on? What camera was it?
We use a Canon EOS 70D.
Nice. That's great, because the film looked great. And going back to kind of budgeting there, I suppose, moving on to that topic, you really had to kind of put a chunk of change aside for, I would imagine, for the special effects and stuff, because it was quite heavy with that, wasn't it?
I had no idea how much makeup cost. I'm like, I'm gonna do all these cool creatures, and I'm gonna have my makeup artist do all these fun things, and then I'm like, how much is the latex piece? And foundation is what? Because I'm used to buying foundation at CVS to like cover up this when I'm going on camera, and then it's all of a sudden it's like, no, green foundation is $30, and then you have to get a $60 foundation to go with that other green. It's like, whoa. That was definitely one of the most expensive aspects. Plus props. I mean, this is a show that is special effects heavy, and we really focus on trying to do practical effects, because mostly Josh doesn't know how to do CGI and things like that.
Yeah.
But
Not yet.
but also I love practical effects. I mean, they're so much fun, and whenever we can do them, we're gonna do them. Yeah, that was pretty much where most of the budget went, was costumes, practical effects, and makeup.
Did you get anyone in to help do the special effects of the makeup at all, or?
So I am very, very fortunate that the person who plays Xander on the show is also the person that I date, and he agreed to teach himself to be a makeup artist for this show. So he spent many a nights watching YouTube and learning how to be a makeup artist, and everything that you see is something that he taught himself how to do. So I'm flabbergasted by the amount of incredible work that he put into this, and what he came up with on without ever having picked up a makeup brush before. So
There you go.
we're very, very lucky in that regard.
That's, again, it goes back to kind of web series making. These are the things you have to do and have to learn. And how useful is YouTube? It's like anything you want.
Mhm.
Exactly. I love it.
I was learning to grout during lockdown, and again, YouTube, and got the showers done and stuff. I have a suspicion that there may have been quite a lot of fun on set and laughter and things. Ashley, have you got any stories of when you were filming it? What was it like? Was there any
Unfortunately, you're wrong. It was a
wrong?
terrible time on set. We all hate each other so much. No, it was, oh my God, to pick
Well, you were
one
being
moment.
serious then. I was like,
No.
No. Oh my God, no, not at all. I think, and I'm kind of meshing them together. I'm like, was that on Skeleton Crew or was that on Demon Doctor? I think one of my favorite parts. Oh, okay. One of my favorite parts that were super individually like me, I can remember it. Paul came up with this really great makeup along with Josh of what Genevieve was gonna wear whenever we see her true face, and it's just this like cornflake latex, like just flaky, like an ancient thing on my face. And one of my favorite parts was whenever I was taking my makeup off and I like peeled it all the way this way, and then it was just like a flip. And I was like, look, guys. And it was like, when we were done filming and stuff, I got such a big kick out of that. Cause like there was that child inside of me that was like, oh, we're playing, like this is play. It feels like play. And it just, that was one of my favorite moments.
And again, go back to the beginning, that's why we do it, isn't it? For that type
Yeah.
of fun and that, and to enjoy it. And what about
Totally.
yourself? What about yourself, Mark? Did you have any
I think
fun
I
experiences?
one I it was fun, definitely. Was that we were filming on a location that it was a rented space, and there was a bedroom in it, and we had left all of our bags, everything inside this bedroom, and and somebody closed the door, and we realized that we could not get back into this room that all of our stuff was in, and like it was like could have halted filming, and everyone else was like stuck in this living room. And I looked up, and above the door, like way above, was like this weird window, and so I climbed up up over the door and used the pipes that were going through the reason the window was there is because there was pipes going from one room to another, and used the pipes to like shimmy through the window hole, drop to the other side, and unlock the door. Very, very Spider-Man. And then they looked at me, they're like, did you just climb through that?
Oh my
I was
God.
like, somebody had to. But it was one of those like, oh, I wish we had this on film, because it was such a one of my best ninja moments I'd had in quite in quite a while.
The things you
Luckily
have
Josh
to
was
do.
there to see it.
You should have got it on camera and put it in the film, I guess.
I
I
know,
was
I wish
just
we
about to
had.
say that.
Well, you know what? I don't think any of them knew I was going to do that. It just happened that, like, in this split-second decision of like, I think I can fit through there. I think I could fit through there upside down, shimmying on the pipe. Like, let's do this.
Would have been great production
It's
value.
very graceful.
As long as it works, and that's the main thing.
We got to keep filming. That's indie film. That's what it's about.
100%, isn't it?
Mhm.
And Ashley, what would you say Josh is like as a director? What would you say? What's it like on an average day working
Josh,
there?
Josh respects the actor's time more than any other director I've ever worked with in my life. Josh will, you know how it's normally a long day, whatever you're filming. Like you show up on set and you're like, eventually I'll get to film. Josh, his priority is making sure that when the actor's there, he's using them in the scene. He's maximizing their time, and he's trying to encourage them to get to the right place with their performance. Like he gives such a gift to actors, and especially since this is a micro budget of a nugget, and people don't get compensated for their time, and sometimes they got to schlub all the way to Brooklyn from Harlem or Pennsylvania or wherever. And Josh just does such a great time he does such a great job when it comes to people's time, which is a beautiful thing, and it's a rarity.
Yeah, it's very respectful, like you say, of it.
Yeah.
And also when people are waiting around, the energy tends to then go as well. But more importantly,
Definitely.
I think what you're saying there, Josh, has done is he just maximizes your time. Like you say, you're here, let's crack on with it. Not you've done the train journey and the rest of it, and then you just sat around waiting for 6 hours.
Yeah.
And what about yourself, Mark? What's your take on Josh's directing style?
Oh, I agree. Josh respects Ashley's time.
What about your time? He has me
He
climbing up
does, and I'm
windows.
grateful for that.
No, what I love about Josh is that he, as a writer, he really takes the time to learn the actor. And there's times, whether it's this show or Skeleton Crew, where he'll turn and say, "Oh, I know how you would say this, and so I wrote it this way." Like he learned the patterns of speech I give to a different character, or the way that Mark talks, and he really listens to us to help create these characters, and trusts us to take them in our hands and make them ours. And I think that's something very special.
I totally agree. Would you say, Josh, a lot of that kind of comes from the fact that you come from acting as well? So when an actor directs, he must have some insight, I guess, into actors' minds and stuff. Has that helped you with the way you direct actors and stuff?
I think so, because I like to think about what I want from a scene when I'm when I'm being directed, and I like to try to give as much freedom as possible, because I think I think that there's a lot of trust you have to have when you cast someone, and so when I'm an actor, I really feel like there's a lot of respect and trust that I'm given by the director and everything, and so I tend to try to also feel like that in reverse when I'm directing somebody. I feel like I trust that they're going to come up with the best performance possible. And I trust that they're going to come up with something that I never even saw because they know this character better than I do. I'm looking at something from a holistic point of view, but they're looking at something from their character's point of view. And it's so it's so rich to watch somebody come up with ideas that you can't come up with every idea on your own as a director. It's so exciting to watch somebody come up with their own idea and then let them run with it and see what they're going to do with it. And most of the time, it's hilarious and fun and enriches the piece. And sometimes it gets us off track, but we still have a good time doing it. So.
It's remarkable how much I agree you can get from improv and stuff in a scene. And I was chatting to one director. He says he does the takes as he wants them. Then on the last take, he says just improvise the scene any way you like, and there might be something in
Oh,
editing,
what?
some perfection. Yeah, so it's interesting, isn't it? And you.
That sounds like fun.
I think he gives Ashley that note, but not any less. No, I get to improv with Ashley sometimes, and that is the highlight of my days. She is a blast to improv off of.
As is Mark. We have a good time.
Was there any improv in particular that you remember doing that you thought worked really well together, guys? Or
In Demon Doctor, I
Yeah.
mean, in Skeleton Crew.
In Skeleton Crew,
Oh,
yes. In
okay.
Demon
I
Doctor,
can't
we
with
haven't
him.
had too many
Can't
scenes
with
together.
you.
Demon Doctor, but
I can't with you in
Well-
Skeleton Crew. I just can't. Like,
One of the other
we're always
actors,
trying to
though,
one up each other.
yeah.
one of the other actors in Demon Doctor, Hunter Thor, he often likes to improv little moments, and they're ridiculously hysterical and so much fun. He did this whole bit with the tea drinking that was just absurd, and he spits it out, and then there's other lines that he just adds that just small changes to them that he improved, but that just make them so much funnier. So there's definitely elements of improv in Demon Doctor throughout the show, definitely. But most specifically, I remember the tea scene in episode 3.
That tea was. I did not know what was happening next to me. I was just like,
who wants to explain the tea scene?
Basically, there are these cups. There are these these very fascinating cups that Derek just looks at like the most fascinating things in the world. And what Hunter does is he takes a sip of the tea, and then as a intimidation tactic, he spits it out slowly. So he's like,
it's not even it's not spitting.
He just opens
it's just
his mouth and just let it
falls
back.
Falls out.
It's not even spitting. It's
For all the rest of us, I'm his partner who's interviewing or who's interrogating somebody, and then the person we're interrogating, we're both just having this like, what the heck is going on next to us, because we had no idea that was coming.
Funny.
But that's the best part, is when you find those new moments that just happen.
Yeah, 100%. It's I think Hugh Grant said you can rehearse something for 6 months, and then it's the spontaneity in the moment, which is better than anything you've rehearsed, kind of thing, I guess, because it keeps it fresh.
Sure.
And for an editor, I guess there might just be seconds of something that's perfect for something else. So it's and it's great. You can have it goes back full circle again of just having fun, I guess, isn't it? When you're doing something you love doing, and that's terrific. Did you have a visual directing style that you wanted to use in this, Josh? Like, considering it's a horror comedy, was there any particular directing style you wanted to try of this that you wouldn't have done with another project? How did you go about it?
There was a lot more specific shots that I knew I wanted to pull in from like just I watched a lot. I watch a lot of horror, especially during the pandemic. I watched way more horror than at the first 5 months. I watched like 3 horror movies a night. So I
Wow.
really ran out of a lot of horror movies at that point. So there's some very interesting horror movies on Amazon Prime after you get that deep into horror. But there are some specific things that I knew very much that I wanted. Like the opening sequence is a ballet sequence done in silhouette, and I knew very much that when I wrote that scene, I knew it was going to be a silhouetted ballet sequence. There's a couple shots of just just a lot of the horror techniques that I wouldn't have used in a more sitcom-y web series style. Like Skeleton Crew is a little bit more of a sitcom style or soap opera. I wouldn't use that because they're a little bit more stylized, so I wouldn't go for that in that kind of thing. But here I'm going for either those long shots or the of like somebody alone in the darkness, or working with shadow and light a lot more than I would in Skeleton Crew or in any other show. I focus a lot more on, or I tried to focus a lot more on light in this than I ever did in Skeleton Crew. With Skeleton Crew, it's just like turn the lights on. But with this, it's sort of let's have a candle here to create some ambiance, and let's have some shadow over here, and I was like, oh, I guess people do this all the time when they're actually filming and with a budget and everything, and there's people that actually jobs are for this. That's why there's a best boy and a gaffer and all those other people on the screen.
I feel like there's a lot that you also did in this one that's very intimate. Like I feel like I filmed closer to anybody throughout Demon Doctor than we did in Skeleton Crew. I mean, even recently we filmed a scene where like our faces are like right here having a discussion, and so there's a certain confinement, I think, to Demon Doctor that's not in the other series.
Yeah, it's good as an actor, obviously being on the other productions of this one, then you see that kind of natural kind of evolvement, really, don't you, and see how it's picked up. How long did it take to shoot the what was the shoot on this? How many days was it, or weeks?
It was actually pretty short for us. We I believe it was a total of 11 or 12 days.
Okay.
And those days were about 12 to 14 hours long. But it was about 11 to 12 days, with probably like a couple pickups here or there of just things like, Mark, I need to do this again or something like that. But overall, our main principal photography was about 11 to 12 days.
Good turnover time, isn't it?
Yeah. Usually we're doing a 6-month shoot for our other show. So 11 to 12 days is like, this is perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, we all pretty much work a lot, 9-to-5 jobs or similar jobs to that. So we really only have Saturdays or Sundays to get together and work. And we were fortunate that it didn't. We were able to do that on the weekends. So.
Yeah, it's like it
was a whirlwind, though. I feel like when we filmed, especially like looking at the whole season, it was like, oh my gosh, this is so much. It's going to take us so much time. And then suddenly it was just like, check. Oh, that, all of this is done, and it's only been one weekend. Okay, cool. Let's keep going. It was fast. At least for me, it was fast.
It was. No, I agree.
I guess again it goes back to when you start to learn the craft more. You think, okay, we can get it done, and I think guerrilla filmmaking, which I love, is just that excitement, isn't it? You think, let's get this shot. The sunset's coming down, grab it in the film and stuff, and you get loads of stuff done on the fly, and it is great. And you do move fast. You don't spend 6 hours waiting for a particular shot angle or something, and which is what can happen on big things. There, did you have a favorite part of filming, Ashley, at all? Was there any part of this like 11-day shoot that was a highlight for you, just in general?
That's a tough one. I had so much fun every time I went on set. I know we're having a fire.
Oh,
I'm so hot.
Never a dull moment.
Yeah. I'm sure it's fine. Someone will tell me if we're catching on fire. I mean, anytime I got to put on that wig every day. I'm sorry, you guys. Classy over here in Colorado.
Try and talk in between the beats.
Fire.
I thought you were just cursing a lot. Like
Yeah.
she was really excited about whatever she was saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, every time I got to put on that black wig was like just so much fun. Anytime I get to sit across from Josh and listen to him talk to me in his super passionate little, I'm going to tell you what, it's always so much fun for me because that's what Derek is. I'm going to tell you what, especially against Genevieve. And like, anytime I get to stand next to Stuart Keechik, if he's got the green on or if he doesn't have the green on, Stuart is just one of my favorite people, and I'm so grateful that my character is so closely intertwined with his, and I get to play off of him. So anytime he got to put on his little blazer and I got to put on my black wig was super fun. Yeah, we just every time that we got on set, we just had so much fun. Mark, I'm trying to think, did we have any scenes
I
together?
don't think we've had any scenes together in season 1.
I don't think so
Um,
either. I saw
no.
you on set because I would be on set for some of the days, but I was trying to think.
Well, we had stuff filmed in the same location, just we weren't ever in the same
Yeah, in the
spot.
same scene.
Yeah, I asked him to do that.
Now I know.
Yeah.
And the more you know.
Yes, stop.
Yeah, so every I know it sounds super generic and hokey and everyone out there is like, yeah, right, give us a gossip, but we have a good time, and you gotta, if you're not having a good time, chances are you don't show up for the next season, let alone show up in another show. I mean, only because there's so much stuff to do. Life is so short, and I think we get lucky that we have fun playing with each other, and Josh writes some cool stuff for us to do, and everybody brings their A game, and it's a lot of fun, and I'm really amazing, so that's fun for me.
Mm-hmm.
It really, I mean, it really is a lovely kind of I was going to say community. The whole web series community as a whole is a lovely community, but listening to you talking there, and you can see how much fun you've had on set. It does remind you why you do it, isn't it? Which is just to kind of have fun and to really enjoy it. So it's lovely to hear stories like this, and it's nice to pick up on that. Can I ask, so when it's all done, and did you have like a screening for this, or was it like who wants to talk about the screening? How did that go? You're smiling. Go on, Mark. Is there a story there?
Whose story?
Who are you pointing at, Ashley?
Oh yeah.
I was pointing at Josh.
Okay. It's a different order for everybody.
Oh, Josh is underneath me over here. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. No problem.
Mark, what story?
It's like, what are you talking about?
I mean, it's we had right before Halloween premiere of the show. Nice. We were at this wonderful bar called the Way Station, which is a Doctor Who themed bar in New York City. It's where we shot for so many years for Skeleton Crew, and where we shot for Demon Doctor, all the bar sequences. Unfortunately, it closed during the pandemic because it just couldn't afford to stay open. But we have some wonderful memories there, and one of those wonderful memories is the Demon Doctor premiere. I was terrified because I had no idea what people would expect with it. I mean, I had done Skeleton Crew for 4 years, and Skeleton Crew is a very long form series. It's a soap opera, gay soap opera, where every episode is about 44 minutes long, and so we have about 36 hours of television for people with Skeleton Crew. I knew what people liked with that. I could easily do that, but with Demon Doctor, I was like, this is everything I want to do. It's a horror comedy. I'm so excited to have this, but are people going to like it? I have no idea what people are going to think of this. And I put it on. That place was packed. People brought friends. There were people I didn't know there, and it was just it was such a beautiful evening because we watched the first 3 episodes as a collective, and people were laughing and gasping, and it was just, it was really just so wonderful. I was so happy to have that experience with this show because I didn't know what to expect, and I was so happy to have it with these wonderful people.
I don't
Beautiful.
think you realized how funny it was until you heard it in front of an audience. You
I
really
didn't.
100%. I
I
knew it was
did
a horror.
not.
I didn't know it was a comedy.
either. I didn't know it was that
Well,
much of a comedy till
Yeah.
we heard it in front of people and we saw people's faces. Anthony Smith's face during that screening will go down as one of my favorite times of watching someone watch TV. He
Well,
just looked so freaking happy. It made me so happy.
but you're right. I had no idea that it was as funny as it is. I mean, I
oh,
thought
terrific.
we were doing a horror show, and then it
Mhm.
turned into, oh, wow, people are not just being gasping at it, but they're also laughing at it, and I'm like, this is awesome, cool.
It's great. Yeah. No, it's terrific, honestly, and it can be terrifying as well, can't it? Like you say, watching it for the first time, and you suddenly know instantly if something didn't work or not. And you think, oh,
Mhm.
no, you know, that's happened to me many a times. So I do that. I give some advice in another interview, and creators had their screenings, and they said they sat on the front row, and I said, no, no, no. I said, you make a little speech, then you go to the back of the room. You're near the
Mhm.
bar, but also you can watch everyone then. But yeah, but
Mhm.
Yeah.
if you sat on the
Oh, that's
front
what I was
row,
doing. I was off in the little corner, and I was just staring at the room. I'm like, what's going on here? Are they
perfect. Yeah,
enjoying
yeah.
it? What's going? Yeah, I didn't even pay attention to the screen.
No, it's more important to watch the
Mhm.
people. You're quite right there, isn't it? And what about yourself, Mark? Did you have any? What was your feelings when you was at the premiere and you was watching it for the first time?
It was crazy exciting because it was my first premiere with them because I feel like I was working during the sidekick the skeleton crew one, so I didn't get to go to any ones before that, so I didn't quite know what to expect, but it was very magical, and I was very happy. I had a lot of friends that just showed up and came out to Brooklyn to go see it, and they seemed to enjoy it. They seemed to really have a lot of fun there. And I mean, there's something I mean, one of the reasons that I wanted to do Demon Doctor is because I fell in love with like the camaraderie and the family of Sidekick Productions in the few episodes of, at that point, Skeleton Crew that I had done. I I just met these people and thought I really want to continue playing with these people. Like this is absolutely amazing. And I would message Josh that I'm like, oh my God, I feel like I found a home. He's like, you did? I'm like, oh, I want to cry. But it made me really happy and feel like I belonged somewhere. And this was just another step uh, into that circle that really made me happy to have found them.
And how do you feel about that, Josh? Because that's a really lovely kind of thing to say there about the environment you've kind of created, really. So as a filmmaker, you know, what I mean, you must. How does that make you feel?
It's everything I have wanted when I was a child growing up. I mean, I knew I wanted to have that that circle of people that we just made things with. We just did art together, and we just had a great time doing it. And that's how I've always tried to live my life as a creator and as a director, as a writer. I've always tried to make that environment fun and a place that people want to be. And I know it's not going to happen for everyone. Not everyone's going to want to be there, and that's okay, because as long as some people want to be there, and that means and I'm just so lucky that I have a family as well.
Ah, there's some real beautiful words. I have to say. It's true and it's lovely, and it's you know, it's such a kind of shame that on higher end productions it seems an absolute lacking of that. And then on the complete flip side, you know, we're hearing more and more, you know, real life horror stories of people being treated like shit, basically. And you think, you know, and it's strange. I got a couple of lines on a TV show, and I thought this was like a big step up. And the way you were treated on that day wasn't great. So I thought even when you kind of succeed,
Hmm.
you know, there's the flip side to the coin. I thought,
Absolutely.
Hmm.
and it's bonkers, isn't it? You think, well, I've been trying to get this for years, and you got that. it's not what you expect really sometimes. So, but so to
Mhm.
hear about the community spirit on that, and that's certainly something I try and do in my productions as well. But I've never had praise like that, mind you. So that's great. I'll have a word to my cast. That's perfect. So, so you've had a premiere, and then obviously one of the next things you want to try and do, I suppose, is go on the festival circuit and stuff, and see kind of what it was like. What was it like when you were sending it off? Was you fairly confident in different places it was going to go down well, or?
I didn't know what to expect. Skeleton Crew my own experience with festival circuit with Skeleton Crew, because that's a hard show for the circuit because it's long and web series are supposed to be short, and so I'm used to a lot of rejection for Skeleton Crew. And With Demon Doctor, I was like, one of the goals I had when I made it was, all right, I'm going to adhere to these rules, which are usually about 20 minutes or so per episode. So let's see. I did that. But I didn't know. I mean, people in the web series circuits, they do some incredible work. There's web series that look like they are Hollywood productions, and it's just and I know that I it's intimidating at times to be in a web series circuit with people who do some incredible work. And I wasn't sure what to expect. I thought, well, we'll try it. I was hoping that we would get into a few. I figured if we were lucky, we would get into the New Jersey Web Festival because we'd had a lot of luck with that before. And then we did. So we're lucky. We can't wait till September, New Jersey Web Fest. And I was hoping that a couple others that I'd been fortunate with Skeleton Crew would accept us. But the reception for Demon Doctor has been even incredible. I mean, last year was a terrible year for so many things, but not for the web series festival and Demon Doctor. So
Great,
I
great.
am very, and
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the things really that I can't thank the web series festival circuit enough because and the British Web Awards included,
I was
because
going to say, was there one in particular that you liked submitting to last year?
I
Product.
particularly enjoyed the British Web Awards because,
Me too.
as people
Me too.
say, I'm a British person at heart, and it
I think
was
she said
very
old
much.
British woman at heart. I think that
Well,
was the specific.
basically, yes, I'm an old British woman at heart. I'm basically Miss Marple. So but the web series circuit last year was something that really helped all of us on the Demon Doctor side get through a lot of COVID-19. I mean, we had these wonderful festivals where we were not just accepted and a part of it, but we won awards, so that was exciting, including some of the most special awards we won, which was from the British Web Awards, and we were very, very grateful about that. I was beyond floored by how many nominations we received for the show, and
I
then how many awards we won. I was just so
yeah.
proud of what we did, and so grateful to you and to your team for recognizing the work that went into this show, because it's it's a labor of love, but it's something that I think is more than just uh I think it's really a special show.
I remember getting an email off you, and because you knew some nominations were coming, and you sent me an email. You said, Which show's been nominated?" I was like, "Both," because you put them both in there. And obviously, it's I've had work go to places, and you get used to not getting perhaps in certain places, and I still remember that day when one show got nominations and how it makes you feel. You think, oh, somebody likes us. I mean, that's great, and it gives you a
Mhm.
pat on the back. And but with your show, it was say it was like we spoke earlier. It was a pleasure to watch and a pleasure to do that. And I think was it four? You picked up four awards for.
Did we get? Yeah, we got four. Yes, we
Mhm.
did. And this was a particularly special award for me because one of the awards was writing, and I had never been. I've written a lot of shows at this point. I've never been nominated for writing before, and I certainly never had won an award before. and this was it meant a lot to me because I was always approached this as a writer first, and it meant so much to have that recognition there.
And then, of course, we've got some award-winning actors as well in this cast now, which is fantastic. What was kind of that like when that went through? Best supporting actor?
That was exciting. I've only had lead actor wins before, so no, no, it was incredibly exciting, and it also, as Josh was saying, like because of the time, it got me right when I needed it. I think there's it was a year of being down, and to see that, to see the nomination and then to see the win, I was completely floored, and it was one of those, like, I came running out. I was like, oh my god, like, this is what. So I'm completely appreciative of it. It's been my profile picture for months, for a while, so it was a very important and special moment for me. So thank you.
Well, I was going to say, I made the festival for creators and stuff, and one of the downsides of having it online is you don't see, the interaction, which is another reason I do these interviews, because it's lovely to touch base. But to hear comments like that, it makes my day, it really does, because I think that's great, and it is just effectively a well-earned pat on the back. You know what I mean? Because to say, and your performance in that, it's this kind of hard-edged cop, and that it did come across. Every scene you was in there was a kind of, you knew you were there, and that's what you pick up on with different performances and things. And it's you don't always get the right character to be able to do that, but it was, yeah. We watch everything. We try and watch every episode that's given to us, and we just try and say, if there's hard work gone there and it's good, that's what we look at. So it's all about doing that, having a pat on the back. So yeah. Did you all manage to watch the ceremony live, or did you just catch it the next day or something? I was surprised by the amount of people who managed to watch it live. I was surprised.
Yeah.
I watched it live, yeah, and I think I know Mark did.
I feel like we were messaging back and forth.
Oh,
yeah,
like throughout it.
Oh, that's another.
It was really thrilling. So
yeah.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to ask about it purely because there's no way of actually seeing people kind of watch it, and again, it's like having a film screening. Like you don't know what people's reactions are. So what was there a kind of a highlight to it, or just what was the ceremony like as a participant?
Well, I think it was so. What I was really impressed by was just the number of people from the industry you had participating in the little intros and the little descriptions and things for the winners, and that was really exciting and thrilling, because that's something that's something that you can do, because it's a web award series, a web award festival. And that was just I was like, who's gonna have next? Who's gonna be the next person that they have? And it was really cool for me to watch that. So
that goes back to the fact that I think that the film industry and the web industry are kind of colliding, and I've always been trying to pull the two together, and I think that's the way it's going anyway. It's definitely heading well off into that direction, and that was one of my attempts, was to try and merge those two worlds together. And I think someone like Michael Ajakwi, who ran the LA Web Festival, that was certainly something he was trying to do, and and I think he was well on the right track. If any of you know, did you know Michael? Anyone at all?
I didn't meet him, but Neem Basha has talked about him a lot, and he's had a lot of wonderful memories of him that he shared with us at over some years and at the New Jersey Web Festival. So
lovely. Yeah, I think he passed away a few years ago, and he's what he did to help filmmakers and stuff, and me massively. So it's again, it goes back to that community. And I think he was the one who started one of the first web festivals in the world. So, if he hadn't have done that, I wouldn't have done this. And, it goes round and round, you see. So it's about people touching each other's lives, you see.
All it takes is one person to start it, and then...
Yeah. It was a special night, though. It was it was feeling like you were part of something when you couldn't be part of something, when you couldn't go out and get glammed up and go somewhere. It was kind of just like I'm still there. I'm still a part of it, and that again, it made the world feel like it was still happening when you're sitting at home on the couch.
Yeah, beautiful. It was so fast.
Mhm.
Did you manage to see it live, or did you catch it the next day?
I did. No, I was watching it live too. I
Oh,
wasn't
lovely,
part of
love
their
it.
group chat, but I was able to watch it live.
I know I didn't want to put pressure on people in case they weren't.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's why I gave you an out at the beginning. I said, what did you think of the experience of that? Was it?
I had so much fun. I wish I could have been there in person. Like we could have all been in a room and
Mhm.
hugged. I
Yeah,
miss
those were the
hugs.
days, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. But it was just so cool. And I've just, and I've spoken to Neem. I have a podcast, the F Your Fears podcast, and I had Neem come on and we talked about, web series, the art of web series and what it's turned into and what it's been for so many creators who, start off maybe as filmmakers or just with an idea, maybe a writer, maybe just an actor, and are able to use this are able to use this new way of creating content, and they're able to just deliver that. And it's just so cool that there you are, you're in the UK, I'm over here in Colorado, they're over there in New York, we're talking about this show, and it's not only able to just come from Josh's brain and go to the internet, like people are able to just dive in, and I just love what you do. So thanks for there's a long-winded yes, it was fun.
I love it. It was fun. That's cool. No, it's lovely. It's so lovely that I'm asking. Just I'm genuinely interested in what people's perspectives of it were. It'd be lovely to somehow stream yourselves watching it. I guess that's something to look at. I guess
Oh,
if we
that'd
do
be
it
so
again.
neat.
I don't know how
Yeah.
that would work, but maybe we could look into that because I'm genuinely, curious. I've gone through people's feeds when they've shared stuff and tagged it, and that's been fascinating. And so yeah, that might be something to look into. You have a little
Yeah,
virtual
that'd be so
audience
cool.
Yeah,
there.
like a reaction video
Yeah,
going
yeah.
on.
And then maybe merge the two. That would be great.
Mhm.
So who
Yeah.
knows? We'll put it in the pot. So what is the future of Demon Doctor? We've had season 1. Is there a season 2?
Well, we're actually doing that right now. All of us are very fortunately vaccinated, so we are
Right.
able to get together.
Mhm.
And if for everyone out there who's watching, please get vaccinated. That's really important, especially if you're in the U.S. and you're refusing to do it. So please get vaccinated. I'm a little aggressive about that, but I it's important. We're actually filming Demon Doctor season 2 right now. We are on day 5 of it. This is going to be a bigger season. It's 3 more episodes than last time.
Oh wow! Okay.
And we're gonna be really pursuing the adventures of Mark and Derek as they try to figure out what's going on with Genevieve's machinations, and also a brand new serial killer is in town. So
Look
terrific.
out.
That's a mic drop there, isn't it? Terrific. Well, that's something to look forward to, isn't it? So, and hopefully, send that to us when you've got that finished. We'd love to.
Oh,
Love to have it in
definitely,
the
yeah.
festival. That's great. Is anyone else up to any different projects in the horizon? Anything coming up? Have you got anything, Ashley, going on?
I have a class in 4 minutes. I'm excited for it. It's with a casting director. I'll actually be doing a scene from What Lies in the Shadows, that mockumentary. I'm super excited. What Happens in the Shadows on FX? You guys know it, right? What's it called?
What We Do in the Shadows.
That's it. Yeah, I'm doing a scene from that. It's gonna be
They're not
fun.
having you read the title, right?
No. No. Yeah, so I, excited for that class.
Ash is also going to be in season 5 of Skeleton Crew, which is coming out in July.
And
Oh,
that.
terrific.
And that's going to have our big 1.5-hour long musical episode as well. So
Perfect.
Yes, some
And
singing
yourself,
and
Mark?
dancing. Well, also season 5 Skeleton Crew, and I my main focus outside of here is writing. So I write a lot of theater, and so it's just anxiously waiting for stages to be available. I kind of spent most of my downtime. I wrote 4 new shows, and so it's really just having that place to have it. We've had some wonderful readings. In fact, two of these two were in one of my readings, just via Zoom. But now it's about getting some real time in the on stage again.
Perfect. Yeah, back to reality, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
well, terrific. I think that's just ran to time then, isn't it, really? That's absolutely been a pleasure again chatting. Again, I genuinely enjoy having these chats and stuff and communicating and touching base, and just all keep making your passions really, and keep making your films and keep pursuing whatever makes you happy, which is that. And when you do that and then you send it to places and your bigger audience and stuff, and it connects with the right audience, it's great. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so please just keep doing what you do, and stay safe, and everyone else get vaccinated.
Right.
Yes.
You're great. All right, well, guys, that's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you
And,
so much for having us.
Oh, anytime. And again, hopefully, if you ever got any new projects on the go, we'll come back on and talk about them. And it'll be lovely to have you all back. And fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you
right.
very much.
All right, well, take care, everyone. Have a lovely day.
Thank
And,
you too.
And we'll see you
Bye.
soon.
Okay. Bye, everyone.